corruption out of the system, you have to have that transparency. And so we talked about even like, we who've been studying Jacera know about quantum voting. What is quantum voting? That's quantum blockchain voting, but who's doing that? That's Stellar, right? So that's just another example of how this can be used outside of just, the investment space. And then you even have all these other assets, or not all, but you have several assets where even they're in their ICO post. So for instance, like Bluebeam would be a great example of that. And there are a couple others as well. They talk about how by becoming an investor at a certain level, then you can also be part of the governance layer of that asset as well, which means we as normal people now have a say in how Bluebeam will be used in the future. It's no longer going to be controlled by the evil cabal or even just by the white hats. It's going to be us, we the people, who dictate how it's going to be used for society. So things are really, really shifting in the background. I'm going to just, go back to Nick for a quick second, because you've done probably the most amount of calls with me about the QFS, but also about or actually, Nick, you've done, Nick and Crinker, you both have done a lot of calls with me on this. When it comes to Stellar's role within the QFS, within the Q plan, but especially like all the hidden documents like the UN, World Bank, IMF, et cetera, IRS, you did a great call on that one, Nick. How has the development been behind the scenes, right? It's like you've been seeing stuff progress, but they haven't really thrown out the word Stellar. But how did you know it was Stellar that they were talking about? Nick, you're on mute, by the way.
Sorry about that. Before I answer, I just wanted to piggyback on something you said also. Something that I think is very important, and correct me if I'm wrong, I might be wrong, but we're going to be able to also blockchain, when we go to common and constitutional law, we'll be able to blockchain, let's say, a trust agreement or a legal agreement between two people or a real estate paperwork. We'll be able to tokenize or blockchain through the use of smart contracts the ability not to have to go to a lawyer's office and sit down and sign a document for whatever particular reason, a will or something. So you'll have standardization of documentation, which really is big, because you can sign a deal with somebody around the world and you do it on the blockchain, and it can be done in a very, very quick amount of time. So I thought that I just wanted to add that in, because I think that's a very good feature. And